Hello to you once again. The problem that we have in front of us requires white to checkmate in 3 moves. It is a continuation in the series of Thomas FRÄRE'S problems from January 1859. And this is by a gentleman called J.H. Morrison. It's not straightforward by any means, and as soon as you look at this, you can clearly see that Black would like to escape this way. Now, if he is permitted to do that, then he's going to get away outside of the 3 moves. So we have to stop him doing that. We also have to minimize the moves at his disposal. Our key move will achieve both of those objectives. And we mustn't worry too much about this pawn running away. We mustn't worry at all about the knight being attacked. So there are a couple of clues there. No, we don't move the knight. We don't do anything down here first thing. And we don't do anything with the king. So it's either the queen or the bishop. Which one? Well, it's the bishop. But where do you put it? You have a few choices there. And you see, as soon as you move the bishop, you're covering the 7th rank, so the king cannot get away. The queen on h7 covers all the 7th. But where do you put that bishop? This is the point. Just take a long view of that position and decide. Pause the video by all means if you want to. Where do you put the bishop? Only one square will do it. But bearing in mind what I said, you need to restrict Black's moves. You need to reduce the number of moves that he has at his disposal. Well, first of all, by lifting this bishop, you're stopping him from playing king d7. Where could you put this bishop where you'd stop another move? That's right. There, you stop his pawn from advancing. Now, let's take this from left to right. Supposing Black takes this pawn or he advances. He can do either. How do we get Black in 2 more moves there? What do we do? Right, well, what we do is we play here check. If Black takes the knight, checkmate. If he doesn't take the knight, he wishes that he had, because the knight comes in here, and that is checkmate. Just check all the squares, they're all covered. The knight is nicely covering c4, the bishop is covered by the queen, everything is done. If you just put this back for a moment, this is I solved all of this, and I solved it this way, but I also noticed, before going to the solution, that there is an alternative way here. Can you see how you do it? This is after bishop c5, b2, or b takes a2. There is an alternative way of doing it. Well, you can play an immediate knight e3 if you wish. You can do that. And if he advances the pawn, he can't move his king anywhere, if you notice, because you're covering d5. And he pushes either of these pawns, like that, or like that. It makes no odds. Then you can just simply come down queen e7. And the same would have obtained if he'd gone like that. And if you just take a look at that, it's effectively a similar way of finishing to the other one, except in this particular situation, Black's king is on e6 and it hasn't moved to d5. Just take a good look at that and satisfy yourself that that is indeed checkmate. I think you'll agree that it is. Promoting this to a queen wouldn't have made any difference because he's being mated with Black's queen on e7, and this promoted piece would have no control over any of that. So that is quite interesting. So let's put this back to the original position, which is that, and it's white to checkmate in 3 moves. We have just established that this is the key move. We're stopping him from advancing the c-pawn. We've tried these 2 moves, and they don't work. What about if he moves his king to d5 on the move? How do we deal with that? Just take a look at that. What do we do? Well, this is a bit different. We play queen d7. We leave the bishop. We leave the bishop well alone. Now, where can he move? Well, he's 2 choices. if he takes the bishop, and that is checkmate. No doubt about that. We're covering nicely b4 and b6. Equally, in this position, should he ignore the bishop and just play to here? Yeah. It's just the same, isn't it? He is beaten both ways. No way out. So king to d5 doesn't work. So again, just looking at the original position, and we play bishop to here. What happens if he takes the knight with his king? I did say we didn't need to bother about losing that knight. So what do we do there? What do we do in that position? Just take a good look at it. How do we get him? Well, we get him like this, Queen e7. This Queen e7 is a major feature of this problem, isn't it? Now, clearly, if he doesn't move his king, if he does anything down here, then it's an immediate checkmate in similar fashion to a previous variation. But he can take this pawn. So how do we finish him there? Just look at that. Well, we finish him this way, and this time, you see, we're covering this f-pawn on the other side of his king with the queen. The bishop is nicely covering e3. That's why the bishop was needed here as well, to cover that square, and that is checkmate. That is really neat. So let's look at the final variation in this most interesting problem from 1859. For a final time, that is the starting position. We play here. What about taking the knight this way? How do we deal with this? Does this cause us any problems at all? Well, if you try moving the queen here, you're not going to do it. There's just one move. If you think about this, at the moment, black is wanting to come here. And if you can get to here, there'd certainly be no mate in 3. So you need to stop him going to c4. Can you see it? Yes, you take this pawn. You take the pawn, you don't let him take yours. And you're covering c4. Now, what does he have there? Well, he only has one move. And that's the move, isn't it? So what do? What do you do there to finish him? Well, you take this pawn this time, and you're protecting your bishop on the other side of his king, and just look at that. That is checkmate. It took me a fair while to solve this one, I must confess, but I was very pleased indeed to be able to solve it. And congratulations to any of you out there who've been able to do all of that. Well done, and goodbye for now.